details cars. He's outside detailing some cars right now, so I don't know if anyone needs their car detailed or want to find out. He'll tell you, it depends on what you want, so I don't quote because I'm not good muscle for so he's right outside to the left. There's two gentlemen, so if anyone, and he's happy to come back other days, and today doesn't work, so I just wanted to put that all out there.
Okay.
And no rain in the forecast, so.
There we go. It's a windy day today.
Heather's always giving you that extra information. Well, yeah, it's kind of funny. I have not seen any my special guest.
Just make sure you guys sign in, because we are pulling the sign in sheet at 9:30.
Which is 9:32. All right.
9:35, we're pulling it.
Pulling it now.
You're late.
$1,000 gift card today.
You sure? Just kidding. You have 2 ones.
I was on the road.
Oh, well, you won't put about one. We'll put it again. Isn't that where it was from?
All right, Kate, good morning. How's everybody? Good. Are there 300 or 400 people watching live on Facebook?
300.
3 people, yeah. We're praying for double digits here, you know? If they're at home, you know, put it on Facebook.
I can put it on now.
Take it, I know. Doing it both ways, okay? All right, kids, lots of stuff to talk about, but I want to show you this real quick. It was in the paper yesterday. That has one of the lowest property tax rates in the country. There are only 2 other states whose property taxes are lower than ours. The answers are here. 2 of those states are lower than us. Everyone else, and then we're 3rd. Who thinks Mississippi is in one of those 2? Right, one for Mississippi. Hawaii. Yeah, David says you must. What about Alabama?
Possibly.
Alabama winning? Okay.
Montana?
Tennessee?
Tennessee.
Tennessee?
Tennessee.
Okay, so we think Tennessee is leading the pack, and then.
Tennessee.
Wyoming. No kidding. Wyoming winner? Absolutely not. Not Wyoming. It's one of these obvious answers that only, you have to have a broker mindset to get these answers, okay? So Caldwell got the right answer. It's Hawaii. Who knew? Hawaii has the lowest property tax rate in the country, followed by Alabama, and then us.
I actually think that's going to be Florida. Aren't they getting rid of?
Oh, yeah, property, in Florida might be 0.
Yes.
What is our tax rate? We should send this article according to, listen to me, according to the RGS.
But their house is
0.47% is the effective real estate tax for homes in Nevada. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily exactly true.
Is it with the cap rate or like that?
You know, I
Cap rate
don't
is
know.
8%.
All I know is if you buy a $500,000 new home for rent, how much are your annual taxes? Do they quote you? Like 1%, right? They put like $5,000, right? 0.9? Yeah. So I don't know how they come with the 0.7. But I wish it was everyone 4.7. Just so you know, I'm from New Jersey. Tax rate in New Jersey. My buddy has an $800,000 home. It's paid off. Paid off. Guess how much his annual taxes are?
20,000.
20,000.
20,000.
20,000. Huh? It's like almost 2.5% of the 100 grand. So that's, what's that, 16,000? 20 grand. He pays $1,600 a month to New Jersey to live in his house. Crazy. Crazy. Another great benefit to being here in the valley. Okay? I would hope so, right? If you're in Paducah or Panaka or, you know. Pio, sorry. Pio. I would think it's that low, so.
Is that article from this morning?
Yesterday.
What's the title of the article?
So if I were you guys, I'd go to RJ, I'd send this to my database. No other reason, just to keep them on top of stuff. And then maybe they could call their local legislator and bitch and moan that they're paying more than .47. Who knows? Yeah? Who knows what that?
We have higher, insurance though.
Yeah, you know, it's just like, we don't have, we brag about our no state income tax, but we nickel and dime us to death here, right? I mean, let's be honest.
And if you work in
All right,
hospitality.
gang, just we'll get to Elizabeth shortly, because that's Elizabeth Ashley, she'll come up shortly. That's our website, elizabethashleylaw.com, if you want to check her out. I'll tell you more about her, okay? So let's, do our little thing here, if I can get to okay, that's a flyer. Zone is changing. Those of you that log into your zone account several times a day, right? Yeah, okay, sure. Only pray, okay? But when you do, it's gonna look different, okay? Some more bells and whistles, a little bit more interactive. If you ask me or Wendy or Suzanne how to do some of this stuff, we don't know the answer either. You have to go in there and play with it. You gotta watch the training videos. You gotta hop on the Wednesday one primetime calls that they do, okay? So we might not have the answer for you, so a lot of this goes back to you guys to learn this when you can, okay? Are we changing time this weekend?
Yeah.
We knew. Okay, so we're springing ahead, kids, okay? Tomorrow from noon, me, Wendy, and the staff will not be here, starting at noon. We have our awards tomorrow at Canyon Gate for the 50 or so top producers from 2025. It's always a lot of fun, a lot of photos, giving out awards, people getting drunk. It's good time. Really, usually every year we get 10 or 15% of the office that wins, that qualifies for the different awards. So it's a lot of the ones that's the flyer that we give out. It's tomorrow from 4 to 7. It'll be on Facebook Live. Thank you, Judy, for reminding me. So somewhere around 5 o'clock. Or so, when do we do the awards, at 6, Sue? Say 5:30. If you're bored at home, whatever, go to Facebook, go to our page. You're bored. Somewhere around 5:30, you'll see the awards and see the people's name being announced and all that kind of good stuff.
Mr. Tim, is that a yearly thing you guys do?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, you do it every February or March for the year that just passed, okay? Next week, there's no meeting here. We're all gonna go to the Southwest for a broker panel. So if you're in the mood, come on down to the Southwest. I don't know if Wendy's moderating it, I think, so Wendy's gonna be the MC, asking the 4 of us questions, so you're down to that. Congratulations to, is Anna here? Where's Anna? No, Anna. Oh, there you are, my dad. Congratulations, okay, that's the legend, and where's Laura? Is Laura here? Oh,
Lauren.
This girl's done like 10 deals in 10 days. I'm serious, I don't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
But
She just graduated from a key program.
she's been here 8 weeks, 7 weeks or something, and I think she has 4 or 5 more in escrow. Yeah, so I don't know what the secret sauce is, but
You don't know her secret sauce?
no, she won't tell us either, okay? We asked her, she won't tell us, she's one of those, okay? No, I'm sure if you ask her, she'll, I think she has a really good YouTube channel, from what I understand. So I visited in the beginning, and now I think it's gotten even more traction, so YouTube, okay? Happy birthday to everybody. This is those of you that have birthdays in the month of March. These are those of you that have been here a long time. Who jumped out at me today was Maria. Maria's always here in the office. She's not at the meeting, but she's going to come in 19 years.
Wow.
Susan Barrera's been here 17 years. Teresa Ashfield 18 years. So really good stuff. We appreciate it. Margie has been here almost from the beginning, 19 years. So Margie Contact, so really good stuff, okay? Here's some numbers. Again, the thing that sticks out to me, the days on market is still kind of high. It's getting close to 2 months. But
the other one's not.
my only recommendation is if you take a listing and you know the house is worth 600,000, and you list it for 700,000, don't come to me and Wendy on how to help you. 2 months into it, when you wanna lower the price in the sales, it's absolutely not, Jason. You know, you said 700,000, you know? It's happening a lot. You guys are overpricing the house. And I'm not saying I wouldn't do the same thing, you know? I mean, maybe you get buyer leads from it. You know, do some open houses, you get some leads that way. So I'm not saying don't do it, but be prepared for the aggravation you're gonna go through for 6 months. When it doesn't sell, and the seller doesn't wanna lower the price. And then they call me up wanting to cancel, 3 months into it, because of whatever reason. And then I gotta fight with them to try to get you a referral fee, possibly, if it goes into WC status. So just kinda keep that stuff in mind, okay? That's from last year, February, if you wanna compare. Next, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, please bring something. Suzanne has a little list if you wanna bring some potluck stuff. You know, cabbage, sausage, sauerkraut, no. Corned beef and cabbage, I'm Irish and I don't even know this. But it's always kind of fun, it's always kind of fun. We pay for your CE and coast, so take advantage of this. Don't pay the $300 or $400, let us pay for it. So the key, that's the rev up schedule that's coming up. First class was yesterday, we have another class in the Southwest with Mark tomorrow, rev up number 2. That's the QR code for all the digital training that Wendy has on the website. Please visit the website, gang. I go to her sometimes and I say, wait, where is the link for the class? You know, and she tells me to go to the calendar. And I go to the calendar and only it's there, okay? So it's usually on Facebook or wherever it might be, but you know it's here. So that's your best place to get those links. That's what it looks like when you pull it up on your phone or your, we just did onboarding yesterday. Some of you attended. So it's the first Wednesday of every month. If you missed it, April 8th, Jeff will be doing it. So it gives you all of you have taken it, I think. So it's, if you're new to the company, it gives you all things Realty One, okay? If you miss this class and you meet a client in the Southwest office on a Sunday and you call me that you can't get in, we just may leave you there and suffer. Because your key fob doesn't open the front door to Mark's building. It opens up the front door to Realty One Group. So us in Green Valley, you walk into the office. Northwest and Southwest, the key fob doesn't work on the building's front door. There's a secret door around the back for both offices. So you need to know where that is. So if you go there after 5 or on a weekend, you just click it on the indiscriminate door on the right side of each building with a little black thing that you can your key fob on.
There's little seats open, so there's people standing, so.
Yeah, come sit, come on, come sit. We won't bite.
Promise, they don't bite.
They don't bite, come on.
You just won't get into the on-time line.
All right, what else we got? All right, our fabulous sponsor, how was the breakfast today?
There's a little
there. Compliments of Rock Title, where is Heather? Heather, come on down. Let me see if I can find your stuff. I want to be ready to go. All right.
This is my better angle. Hi everybody, good to see you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the breakfast. See a couple things I got going on. If anyone needs CE hours, I have 2 CE classes at Rock Title Southwest, Russell 215. One is next Wednesday, the 11th, and the part 2 is on the 25th, which is 2 Wednesdays out, and it's from 9 to 12. I have these flyers on my, where I'm sitting over here. It's the Certified Real Estate Advisor, part 1 and part 2. It is free, so if that interests you, RSVP is on here. So, and I'm not, I am sponsoring it, however, I'm not teaching the class, so it's there. For those of you guys that don't show up at my monthly mastermind, I have an amazing speaker come in every first Wednesday of every month. I had it yesterday. He is a financial advisor, really good information on planning and different stuff doing your money. So if that is something that interests you, reach out to me and I'll let you know when the next one is. Let's see, what else? Who is using Rock Agent? Okay, thank you guys for using this. This is a really good tool for net sheets, but I'm not gonna talk about our net sheets. If you guys don't know how to use the net sheet, this little video button here, you can hit play and it'll show you kind of a step-by-step on how to do it. It'll probably explain it better than I can right now. The other part on here is our calculators. So we got, and I'll talk talk to you about this value analysis. Who was in my class many months ago when I went over this? Okay, good, a couple of you. So I won't be boring you guys, hopefully. So I'm gonna go over this, and then the other thing on here, as you guys know, this is a free app. However, for RESPA, they have a premium option that's only $10 a year, that you have to charge something. Rockhead doesn't get a penny of that. You can also do the 99 cents a month, but it gives you so many. Look at all that information you guys could get in post. So there's tons of content on here, which again, $10 a year. Once you brand it to yourself one time, you don't have to keep rebranding it. So it just makes posts, and I'm friends with a lot of you guys on Facebook. You guys aren't posting these, so, but it's there for you, and it's free, so why not? I mean, it's great information, you guys can send them to your clients. So I would, and whatever you click on, a lot of times it'll have, well, you can plug in these different amounts here, but let's see if it'll show it on the right-hand side.
Yeah, there's that local data.
Some of it's local, some of it's just, national. Some of these, depending on which one you click on, will have just the information with the infographic. So you don't have to like think what I should say with it, it'll tell you right there, you just copy and paste it. So that's there, and if you guys, not sure if you'll use it, just do the 99 cents a month. You're not gonna miss the dollar, I'm pretty sure. Try it out. There's a lot of people that pay for the automated postings. I know, I think is it RevView or, well, the ones that you guys, RoomView. It's $50, $100. I see a lot of you guys that post that, and it does automate it. But this is only $1 a month, so I don't get commission on this, so I'm not trying to sell it. I just think it's such a great tool that you guys aren't using. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to this calculator. So as Tim had mentioned, some of you guys overprice your listings, right? For different reasons. And I got a call the other day at night about from a listing agent who's had the property on the market for 3 weeks, and now they want to take it off the market and turn it into a rental, which makes sense in a lot of ways because there was a good net flow if they turned it into a rental. But he wanted to keep it on the market, obviously, because after 3 weeks, you put money into it, time and pictures and all that stuff. So it costs you guys money if you overprice a listing, right? And I'm not saying at the time it was overpriced, but the price is what someone's willing to pay for it. So if it's not getting any action, then you probably need to do a price reduction. But it's also setting the expectations up front initially that in our market, sometimes they can go right away if it's priced right, but sometimes there's a lot of homes to choose from. You might be competing against new construction right now. So doing this little analysis with your clients, I think really makes a big difference for them to be part of the pricing. So they have involvement, and it's also their decision as much as it's your decision. And it puts it back on them. So you guys together come up with a marketing plan and price it correctly from the beginning. Now, normally right here, you would put the address in here and it'll auto-populate the original loan amount, the average interest rate, and then it should amortize it out assuming a 30-year loan. It'll tell you approximately what they owe on the property. This room, for whatever reason, it doesn't pull the address properly. I think the Wi-Fi is off in here, so I'd say 1 out of 10 times I do it in here, it messes it up, so I'm not gonna even try. This is normally where you'll do that. Now, you can have this conversation, you have a market price, you have the low end, and you have the high end. So generally, you're gonna have this conversation and say, okay, what do you think your house is worth? Well, probably it's not the low end, probably it's that high end number. So if you put in the high end number, say they think it's worth $950, and you did happen to see a comp in the neighborhood on the low end at $850. And obviously this is stuff that you can have your comps available when you're going over these numbers with them. You have a market price. So this is you as your educated real estate agent, what do you guys think it's worth? And what do you think someone's willing to pay for it, more importantly? So let's say not just the homes on the market, but what is actually sold. So let's say the homes in the market have sold in the 900 range. So you have 3 different numbers in here. Kind of start there, then you're gonna put in the seller loan balance. So let's say they owe $450. what's their interest rate, we'll just leave 4.25, so whatever the rate is. Going down to holding costs, okay, so property taxes, we were talking about that earlier. This is just gonna use an average amount, you don't wanna do that, you wanna go to the dollar sign, so change it from percentage to dollar. Property taxes here, if you go to the Clark County Assessor's Office, you're gonna see where the property taxes are. One thing that's nice about our state is property taxes don't change based on purchase price, they still only increase 3% per year or 8% if it's a rental property. So the older homes are gonna have way lower property taxes than a home that was purchased like 2 years ago, that started off at after our jump in appreciation in our market. So let's say property taxes are $3,600. Insurance, kind of the same thing. I don't know what the insurance is gonna be on this property, but let's just say, this is where you're involving the client too. What are you paying for insurance on your home? What's your HOA? Let's say it's $250. Now, the purpose of this is the cost to hold. So if we're overpricing a house just to see if somebody takes it, great. But meanwhile, that person is paying their maintenance, right? They're paying their mortgage payment, they're paying their pool, they're paying their landscaper, they're paying their utilities, cable, all that stuff. And if it's vacant, it's even obviously a higher cost. So like, let's say there's electricity, there's gas, there's internet, water, trash. So you can put all that stuff in, maintenance costs. If it was me, I'd probably just sum it up and say, okay, I'm paying about $800 for all of that, or whatever the number is, but that's when you get your client involved. Custom expense, so then you can go in, okay, what are you paying for landscaping? Maybe you're paying $150 a year, and you can just keep adding this stuff in here. Assumptions, I don't know why it's called that, but assumptions is basically your fees. So we're gonna go in here and we're gonna put our listing agent, let's say you're gonna charge your 3%, maybe you're gonna offer the other side, let's say 2.5%. And this number you can change, but the reduction part of it is, okay, after the market's been, the home's been on the market for 30 days, do you wanna reduce it 5%, 4%? So you have to have a number in there, we'll just leave 5% right now. Let's do it after 30 days, you can change it to 3 weeks, whatever you guys decide. Miscellaneous, so this is the part that works just like our net sheet section. You can just put a number in there, or you click here. And this is where you can put in like in today's market, let's say you wanna offer a home warranty. So if you wanna offer a home warranty, we're gonna put that. Now, we're gonna have, you guys probably wanna have a transaction fee in there, so whatever that number is, we'll just use that number. Miscellaneous, let's just say we want a miscellaneous fee, because we don't know what all the little payoffs are and all the little fees, let's just put a cushion in there for 500. And then when it's done, so it'll say stored, so those are all the numbers that show up there. This stands for real property transfer tax, which generally is a seller fee. So we're gonna keep that as a seller fee. Closing date, that usually just puts it out 30 days from the day you make this, but you can change that. We're gonna hit compute. Okay, and then right here you have what we put in there, the low price, the market price, the high price. Well, on the low price, maybe it's gonna be a month to close. The market price, 2 months, high price, 6 months. Now you can adjust this based on what you think the market is today while you're doing this worksheet with your client. The balance of their home loan, because obviously if they have a loan on it, the longer you make your payments, it's gonna, little by little, the balance might decrease slightly. The closing costs, so these are all closing costs, you know, so you have your title escrow, your fees. The higher the price, obviously that price is gonna go up slightly, so that's why it changes there. This just shows foot traffic, so you're probably gonna get a little more foot traffic if it's priced really low compared to if it's priced really high. Holding costs again, so that's about, those numbers we put in, is about $3,500. But if you keep it on the market for 2 months, it's $7 grand, 6 months, 21 grand. The net to close, so their net might change, obviously, but they also have that cost in there. Now the reduction part, that's where we're gonna lower the price. So we can change that to, let's say, we wanna go to 3% after so long. you can change these numbers. Then you go to this true value analysis report. Now, I have the premium one here. My understanding on this one is if you have the free one, you might not have this full 5-page report. You guys will have to tell me, but again, it's the 99 cents a month, so it's not that big of a deal. But it gives you this 5-page report. You can pick whichever one that you like, and it prints out 5 pages based on everything that you talked about. And it's a nice leave behind, whether you email it to them or, and it's, again, well, I know you said you don't wanna reduce the price, but remember back when I listed your home, we talked about reducing it after 30 days. So it kinda keeps that accountability with them as well, and keeps them involved. You can email it, download it, print it. You're not gonna really wanna do a social share for this, but that button's on there. If you do it on your cell phone, on the app, you'll also have the option to text any of these forms. Now I'm gonna go back one. So that was the true value. We also have the market stat one, and this one is gonna have the local data. So let's just say it's 1.8. This will change the report based on your city, or your zip code. So you can change it, so this was like the Vistas area, in Summerlin, median list price, median price of new listings, price per square foot, average days on market. So here you go is another report, when someone wants to sell it in 30 days, but the average days on the market is 122 days, then they might need to price it more aggressively, because that might not match up to what they're hoping to get, so. It also shows the inventory for that market.
I love it.
How many prices decreased, price decreased 33% for the zip code. So again, as Tim said, you're not the only ones taking over price listings, probably a lot of people are, but it does cost money, and I always think it's just an accountability and then something to explain to them. Well, we did go over this from the beginning. We are entering the spring market, generally, that's a busier time, so we're just approaching that too. Timing is the other thing on here, so it just has this little, and again, it's just something else you control. That is actually part of that 5-page report. What do you guys think of that?
Pretty cool.
I like it.
Okay.
Love it.
You guys should be using that with everything. And you ask them their utilities, so when you're meeting with them, hey, put together, what do you think you're spending on landscaping? What do you guys think you're spending on pool service? What do you guys think you're spending on utilities? Yes.
Does the system auto-populate the interest rate, or is that something we have to do from the, sellers directly?
So generally, let me see if I can start over here. I'm gonna go to the seller one.
Does this database have my interest rate from 12 years ago when I bought my house?
No.
I think you have to look at the seller.
Okay,
What-
question?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have.
Alright,
But
thank you.
I'll tell you what it does do. You put in the address here, and I'm gonna try it, it just, a lot of times kicks us out, so, in this group. So let's just put in an address. See how delayed it is? 3. See if it works. Okay, it did work. So you put in the address. It'll say, okay, the property taxes on this home are $5,800. Then you go to the next button, and it's gonna say the last loan taken out was December of 2020, and the loan amount taken out was $443. It doesn't tell you if it was a refinance or purchase, doesn't matter. It's gonna say the average interest rate for that year was 3.19.
Got it, okay.
So if you say, Mr. Home Seller, what is your interest rate? And they say, oh, actually, I got it at 2.5%. Great, you put 2.5%.
Right, that makes sense.
If you don't know, you just put in the average. Well, I know you don't know, let's just go ahead and put this in here. And this helps you compute, and it amortizes it as if it was a 30-year loan. But let's say you know that they had a 15-year loan. We're gonna go ahead and hit the edit, and we're gonna compute it, because obviously it pays it down a lot quicker. we're gonna just use that estimate. But if you happen to know that their loan balance is different, so that's where they got that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so if you just have, you can skip all that, if you have their mortgage statement and it says they owe 310 on it, you can plug in that 310. Yeah. The other one, how much time do I have?
A little bit.
Okay.
We'll get the hook in a minute, don't worry.
Okay. So right here, so that was again, this is under calculators. This is under that was the true value analysis we just covered. You're gonna have, buy now or buy later, monthly affordability, and how many people in here are a loan officer? None, so you guys shouldn't be quoting payments because you're not loan officers, right? However, it is important for you guys to know approximately how much a mortgage costs. So when you're talking to someone, most of you guys know my past, I was a lender for 20-some years. People would say, you know what, I really wanna buy because my rent's going up, it's gonna be $1,500, I just can't make that payment. And I'm going, okay, well, mortgages are about $2,200 a month, so that's probably gonna be more than you are wanting to afford anyhow. We can still talk about it, but it's a good idea for you guys to have an idea. So this handy calc does give you an idea. And maybe it'll work. So you do have to have Wi-Fi that works in this room.
Use your error.
Okay, so
Hotspot, anyone?
in order to get a payment, you have to have 3 numbers. You have to have the loan amount, you have to have an interest rate, you have to have the term. Or if you wanna know, what their payment is gonna be, and you know about what the interest rate is, and it's gonna be a 30-year loan, you can kind of figure out what that loan amount is. So you just have to have 3 of the 4 numbers. Keep in mind, this does not calculate mortgage insurance, PMI, if they have an FHA loan or they put down less than 20%, so that's gonna be on top of this. This is just a principal and interest calculation. It's not gonna cover property taxes, it's not gonna cover homeowners insurance, it's not gonna cover HOA. But I always thought it was a good idea to know for about every $100,000, I don't know what the interest rate's gonna be, but if you kind of go over a national average on a 30-year, let's hit compute. Okay, so for every $100,000 that person finances, principal and interest, it's gonna give you a payment of $632. So if you're looking at homes and you can change it to $50,000, I used to go by $10,000. We're like, okay, for every $10,000, it's gonna be about $70 a month, depending on the interest rate at the time. So if you're looking at a home and this home is priced $50,000 more, but it's turnkey, they don't have to put any work into it, elbow grease after the fact, or get a second mortgage or drain their savings to fix up the kitchen, paint it, etc. And you say, okay, well for $50,000, let's compute it. Okay, that's $316. So this house is $50,000 more than the other one that they like that needs work. Is it worth the $300? Because that's part of their main mortgage. It's not a second mortgage. It's not draining something on their credit cards. It's not draining their savings. So something to know. But again, direct them to the loan officer because they know more than you guys will know about their specific situation.
I always used to use the wrong H and F. It has a lot about loan conventional down payment. Shall I still use it, or is that not comparable to that?
This is the app.
Oh, this is the same?
Stay with us,
Yeah.
stay with us.
So are you on the calculator section?
I know, you use it all the time.
So, yeah, so the buyer one, this is a net sheet, just to kind of go over. I don't recommend you guys ever doing this unless it's cash or have your escrow officer do it, because you guys don't know what the lender knows. You don't know if your buyer is gonna be doing 2 points to get that interest rate they want. You don't know their specific loan terms. So it's hard to tell them what they're bringing to the table for closing costs if you don't really know. So that's really the lane of the lender, not as an agent. The seller, you can go and do this yourself. You can also go through our escrow officers. I recommend if you're newer, you go through our escrow officers because they're, again, they do it like this. You guys are learning. Still practice it, and and again, that video is right there. This is where you put in the address. Calculators, again, that's what we just covered. This equity review is my favorite one. We probably don't have time to go
We
over
don't have,
that.
no,
We
no.
don't have time.
Not today.
That's why I asked. That's why I asked. But there's little videos for each one of those.
Yes.
So, that's all I got. Thank you guys.
Yeah, me and Heather bust each other's chops all the time. This is really good stuff. I mean, it's impressive, it shows your seller that you've done your homework, but you gotta practice this 47 times before you go meet a seller, or else you're gonna be, embarrassed.
But the sellers, they are impressed by that.
Yes,
And
yes.
it prints out nicely.
Yes,
But the
yes.
one from the title company, much more detailed.
Correct, whenever you can get Rock Title's name on it, it's better, because it's a third-party source, it's not you, it's not Realty One Group, okay? Same thing like you said with the mortgages, don't go quoting stuff that you think is right for a loan. Because even if they meet with the lender and it comes back and goes sideways, they're gonna blame you. Because probably you're the person they met, okay? So it ultimately goes back to us being the really good guy or the really bad guy, okay? All right, kids, let's, thank you, Heather, that was really nice, okay? You went way over, we got- yeah.
I have.
Yeah. All right, let me get to this. Yeah, let's go. Here's my little clicker thing here. You okay? Yep. You're good? Okay. So that's Heather. There is a class coming up. There's some really cool Zoom classes that Rock Title puts on for all Realty One groups. I think it's is it in Arizona? Are they physically in Arizona when they do this?
Sometimes it depends where the speaker is.
With the speakers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it's been Damon.
Okay,
And he's
so
been
this has to do with landing pages on your website, if you have landing pages. If you don't know what that is, you should learn about landing pages, they're very resourceful for getting leads. Some other stuff that Rock does for us. If you're not on the monthly email, I got it this morning from Rock with all of their NODs, or NOSs, or HOA, okay? It goes out monthly, I think, or is it weekly?
It's throughout the week, several times a week.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if you're into NODs, or you wanna get into inspired listings, or things like that, make sure you're on that distribution.
You can
list.
email me and I'll email our customer service girl to put you guys on that list.
Yeah, John's, in Arizona, I think, so, just so you know, the 2 loan officers that we had in Southwest and Green Valley, are no longer with us. So John's, doing like triple duty. So if he's not getting back to you right away like he used to, or whatever, just let me know. But the guy's getting killed, in a good way, but he's kinda by himself, trying to help everybody out as they hire some more loan officers, okay? Sharon, I think we're good. Sharon is not here. That's a good thing if she's not here. Wendy, you're okay?
Good.
Wendy's good? You okay? And, all right, Katie, so how many attorneys a year do we have come in, Suze?
A few.
3,
Okay.
right? And they're all great, but usually they, are talking about probate,
Yeah.
meaning they're coming in as a courtesy to us, but they want you to call them if you have a probate client, right? Or whatever it might be, or they're teaching a CE class. That's not really Elizabeth, she's the attorney you call when you need an attorney. When you get sued through us, and for some reason we can't help you. I don't think that would ever be the case. If for some reason our attorneys say, you know what, Tim, tell Jen to come back, we can't represent her. I'm gonna give you Elizabeth's card. She's gonna pull you out of the doldrums hopefully, okay?
How about our clients? How about our clients?
We don't have that, yes. Landlords, homeowners, that's our, okay, so hopefully you have some questions. The other good thing about Liz, there's no fancy PowerPoint, there's no crazy slides. You see, you get what you get, so, we're happy to have her here. Elizabeth, Ashley, everybody.
I don't need a PowerPoint.
Okay.
I am a full-time real estate professional. I hope that applies to each one of you. I don't do real estate part-time, it's my life.
Oh.
And that's what it takes to do the job in this market especially. And that may be controversial, I'm not meaning to hurt anyone's feelings, but I'll still go ahead. There was a vote recently, and the entire galaxy decided that you guys are worthless. Right, not to me.
Why is it always our fault, Liz?
I use real estate agents when I buy and sell. I believe you guys provide a necessary service. And working for you has given me my livelihood. I love agents. But just like the entire galaxy decided I am evil incarnate, lawyers are bad, bad people. We cause all these problems. We don't solve problems. The world has decided that they can find their own house on the internet. that you don't know anything, you're not trained, you're not educated, you don't have special skills, you have fabulous personalities. You are salespeople, but that you don't have substance to offer. And so, taking off of what Heather talked about this morning, the more you can have substance, concrete, data, information they don't have and they can't have, because it's a real profession. It takes you 10,000 hours to be basically competent, and the more you can impress upon that, upon your client, the better. Because there is this general prejudice that it's easy, anyone can do it, and it's just not true. It's a dangerous profession. One of the things Heather and Tim talked about is this idea of listing over price. Again, if you wanna do it, you can do it. You are your own business. It's a courtesy license, thank God for the brokerage, but you are individual business people, you will do what you think is best. But when you overprice, and it doesn't sell, or it takes forever to sell, a certain percentage of your clients call me and say they'd like to sue you. It happens all the time, all the time.
And
Now,
they
my-
want us to overprice them.
Of course.
Or Liz, is the phone call, how do I get out of the contract? Is that sometimes the phone call?
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah.
My answer to that, the quick answer to that, when they call and say, okay, I'm done with this, they're lazy bums, they're not doing anything to sell my house, they misrepresented the price, I say a couple of things. Number one, you think, and they're in contract even sometimes, you think the buyer is your problem, and it's not. The buyer's gonna wander off and buy some other stucco box. They are not gonna hire a lawyer, they don't have the ability to sue for specific performance. It exists, but it's really hard to do it. So your problem is your own agent, they're gonna sue you for the commission. And you probably told them some stupid excuse already, before you even called me. If theoretically I was taking your case, we could study the deal and come up with some way out of your deal, maybe. But these people are arrogant. They'll tell you right to your face, I have someone down the street who's gonna buy it, I'm just not gonna use you. After you listed it and marketed it and everything else, you're worthless to me, because they think once it gets into escrow, it'll just coast along and everything's gonna be great. So that is my answers. Number one, I don't sue agents, and number two, your agent's gonna sue you and they're gonna win. So this is craziness that you're doing here. So be really careful. And the larger issue is, how can you be different from everybody else? That's what I've applied to my life. I don't have the PowerPoint because it's not selling me. What sells me is I pick up the phone and talk to people. And if you read my reviews, it says she's tough. She's talking tough to you. I have a couple of negative reviews, and I did what I think is, some people thought of the right thing to do and said, that is damn straight. I did tell them, I know better than you do. I did say, let's cut to the chase. Give me a one-line question. And I'm not gonna listen to the whole big factual story, because I know the answer. So if you don't wanna deal with someone who's gonna give you the tough, straight answer, I'm not the right lawyer for you. And that's working for me. It might not work for you. You guys are much more salespeople. One of the reasons I use real estate agents is because I'm always like this. So I use very charming, easygoing, sales agents for me in buying and selling properties, because it works for me. I also don't ever tell you the truth. I'm never telling you the least amount I'll take or the most I'll pay. I let you go out and negotiate for me, because you do great at that. It's a partnership. So the more you can convince your clients, you're in partnership with them. You're not lying to them. You're not, building up false hopes. From day one, you're gonna tell it to them straight. You're gonna show them you're experts in the field. One of the things that was suggested you might wanna hear about is seller's real property disclosures. That's the number one thing people call me about. Out in the parking lot, I was talking to some guy who wanted to talk about, I bought my house 5 years ago, and 2 years ago, we had this water leak, and for sure I can sue the seller. People do not have any understanding about not being able to go back against the seller. That's their number one hope, is, oh, I'm just suing the seller, and anyone can sue anyone over anything. And with our district court, with a bunch of elected judges, most of whom have not a lot of real estate experience. More and more, our judiciary are former prosecutors and defense attorneys. Doesn't mean they're not smart, but they do not understand real estate. You are taking bigger and bigger chance, thinking, I'll just go to court and since I'm right, it'll work out. I was physically at the constable's office this week in Henderson and trying to get something done. I had a beautiful court order from the district court. And they said, I don't care what the district judge says. You know, we're not going to go over and lock those people out based on that district court's order. And they said several other judges are faced with the same situation, especially family court. They never do what a family court judge says. So often the Thule's a little bit here, but realize that the more you know and the more you can bring to the deal, the more you will stand out and distinguish yourself. You know, I'm not gonna tell you how to sell real estate. I don't do that. But I am gonna tell you what are the high-risk issues. Seller's real property disclosure. Most agents send it over electronically. They've never, the seller's never seen it in person. They've never seen all the multiple pages. They don't understand what it is. By, you know, the third box down, they're thinking, I hate this, I don't understand. And it's really dangerous. And it is tedious, but it's one of the very first ways you can start with a seller you've already signed. I mean, let's skip over how do you get the client and say, this is one of the first ways you're gonna tell them, how are we gonna safely sell your house? It doesn't come back on you, Mr. Seller, and it doesn't come back on you. And that is to go through it with them and talk to them about it. Talk to them about everything that's happened in the house since it was built, ideally, but certainly since they've been owning it. Did the air conditioning ever go out? How old is our air conditioner? Oh, you had to replace the air conditioner 5 years ago. Let's go into that rat's nest somewhere and pull out all of the paperwork on buying the new air conditioner 5 years ago. I think the average agent, average seller thinks, that is a waste, why do I wanna do that? Yet they do have that paperwork. The bigger stack that you can present accompanying your seller's real property disclosure, the more credible the seller is, the more substantive it looks. Even if, as is many cases, in the middle, there's a bad thing, there's a smoking gun in the middle of this stack of stuff. Better it's buried in amongst everything else, because the general perception is, oh, this person took care of this house, they're sharing with me information. And if you go through everything and actually ask them about the various boxes and explain to them, anytime we've had water intrusion, we have to reveal it, anytime. We don't have to talk about who died here, that's not our state, but we do have to talk about anytime there was water intrusion. Sellers don't understand that. They think if there's not water on the floor this minute, I'm okay in saying no. And that's a huge thing. People are terrified of mold. They shouldn't be, but that's another discussion. So going through it with them, talking to them about the risks, are telling them straight out, what are the neighbors gonna say about your house? Because the minute the buyer moves in, the neighbors are gonna come over and say, did he tell you about the number of times he had the plumber here? Did he tell you about it was recommended he replace the main line and he's just limping it along? So if you find that out now and talk to your client about it, you can handle it. You can deal with it. You can still sell that house. In that vein, let's come up with a scenario. The back bedroom of a house that's 30 years old has a bathroom and the drain is slow. The inspector says, drain is slow. Do not be the agent who says out loud, oh, that's probably just needs a snake. That would probably be okay. On either the buyer or the seller side, do not be that person. A good inspector wrote you a report that says, yeah, you should have someone look at that, and then walks away from it, right? But if you minimize it, you are just asking for it. You are outside your licensure, you are outside your lane, you're not helping anyone. But the way you fix that is to have 3 plumbers that you have some awareness of, that you have actually done a little bit of background on. Do they have a contractor's license? You know, everyone wants to do everything cheap easy, but you can be liable for negligent referral. So you cannot be referring people who are not licensed, meaning contractors licensed in that way. But you should have a list of vendors, 20 different vendors. You need attorneys, and you need 3 of them. I should probably be at the top, because I'm your friend. But
Make
2
sure we
more.
number 1 and 2.
Yeah, have Lee Dries in second. I love him, but you're not gonna get to work with him. You'll have to work with one of his little minions. There's lots of good people in town, but you need 3 of them, not just 1. You need lenders, you need a roofer, you need an electrician, you need a plumber, you need a landscaper, and by landscaper, I mean someone who has a C10 license, not an unlicensed guy. And in all of these various disciplines, and the minute you're looking at that drain, you're saying, we don't know what it is, could be something minor. No problem with saying, hey, don't worry, it could be something minor. But on the other hand, if you're the seller, say, let's fix this now. Let's find out what's going on. I don't wanna know what it is, or I do know what it is, but I've been lying to you about it up until now. Say, I want you to address this. They won't address it, write them an email. I don't think it's appropriate to practice real estate by text. I don't practice law by text. Doesn't mean I don't communicate with people, but when I'm saying to someone, I'm writing this down to hold you accountable, to hold myself accountable. Emails work, texts don't. That's just the reality of today's world. If you are using text for anything beyond just meet you at 5 o'clock, then you better have a software program that downloads your texts and turns them into a file. You all have that, right? You're all using Decipher or something similar, because you don't just keep it on your phone forever. That's not how you're running your multi-$100,000 a year business.
We upload everything into our data management system, SkySlope, right guys? Just tell her yes, tell her yes.
Text go there?
We want everything to go there, if they could.
Yeah, in my world, people wanna communicate with me on text, and I have to do something affirmative. I have to download it with a separate app and put it, so I just try not to do
And Liz, not to
it.
interrupt you, I got a complaint last week from the division on one of you, from a consumer. And, when the consumer fills out a complaint, and then the consumer gives backup documentation. It was literally 437 text messages between the consumer and our agent.
And you know how easy
My
it
head
is to
hurt
do
just
that?
looking at it.
You go to
know?
the real estate division
Really?
website, you press a button, the complaint comes down. They don't even sleep on it. They do it without caring about it. And if they call up the next day and say, I was a hothead, I wanna withdraw it, they can't. So it's not anything to fool with. They make it really easy to make the complaint. A lot of complaints are closed, it's not worthy of further investigation. If you're hooked up, as Realty One is, with the compliance office down at the division, someone will call you up and say, stop the nonsense. I'm not gonna open the file, just stop the nonsense. Like this issue of someone wants to withdraw the listing. There's lots and lots of ways to handle it, but generally, the division says, you can't hold people hostage. Well, you can sue the hell out of them, but you cannot hold them hostage. So the more you're communicating with your clients, the better. Better to know the bad news. Don't think, well, I'm creating bad news by telling them things in a confrontational, straight ahead manner. The bad news is there. You're just finding out about it. And if you find out about it, then you can go to your broker. You can say, I'm losing this client, I'm losing control, I need help. Can somebody else come in and help me with this? I do not know why agents aren't willing to take referral fees more aggressively as a way of resolving a problem. Something is better than nothing. And something is better than getting sued. But people hang on to it and say, no, I'm gonna hold on to this listing and you're never selling your house. That's not making anyone money.
I serve on the board, but we just came across, I was asked to serve, to be on a complaint, so I can't disclose much. I'm sorry, but it was exactly about an agent, they did not want, to release the listing, and that caused the problem, so.
Yeah, number
I
one,
said just
it's not your listing.
Yeah, just.
It's his listing.
She was the member too, but I'm saying is.
So, get over it.
Yeah.
It is not your listing. right? It's the broker's listings.
Well, in this case, it was the broker, but what I'm saying, just let them go, because in this case, it really got her into huge
Always
problems.
let them go. But bring in your broker. The reason you're here is this, everything that's offered you, the resources that are offered you. And agents call me directly all the time. And my usual advice in that kind of situation of, you know, I'm gonna fight with someone about something, I'll listen and try and be supportive and then say, go to your broker. That's why you're there. The broker's there to help you. The broker can play good cop when you're bad cop when you're good cop. They can work it out with you, but never hang on until you're dead. Because that's the way it's gonna end up.
And again, think of it this way. Recently, one of you had a listing for a 12-month listing.
Yeah,
You know,
already I don't like it.
No,
but-
no, 8 months into it, the seller says, I give up, you know, you're not selling my house, I wanna get out of this. Of course, our agent said, absolutely not, I'm into you, you know, $2,000 with all these fees. So I called the seller, explained to him what's going on, I get out of the seller, the new agent she wants to give the deal to. I call up the other agent, who's normal, if you get my drift. And I negotiated a 50% referral fee for our agent. Because they really did put a lot of money into it. A couple of broker opens, it was $1 million home, but in the beginning, the seller thinks they're paying more. Or they think, oh no, now there's another agent, there's more fees. But I explained to the seller, look, whatever your commission was, 2.5%. You know, my agent's gonna compensate, but you can use, you know, whoever you wanna use now. And everything turned out okay. But in the beginning, they don't understand that. And don't dig your feet in and be like a jerk and start arguing with your client. Say, Mr. Client, I understand, I'd like to help you, but I think from this point, let me switch you to a broker. And I'll jump right in and we'll try to fix it any way we can, okay? And one more thing, as you do all these text messages, once you know it's getting a little, whatever that word is, you know what I'm getting at. Something's gonna happen. Hey Damon, I appreciate that text, but do me a favor, here at Realty One Group, my broker recommends at this point we start talking to each other. So always throw the broker under the bus, really. You know, I throw Mark under the bus every chance I get. It works great, it really, really does. You know, I used to do it with him, you know, oh, they got their broker said I can't do it. So use that line, okay? And then I'll jump in any way I can, so. Sorry, Liz.
Oh, no problem.
Just a hypothetical with that, so if you have a client that is, you know, you have a feeling they're gonna give you a hard time, or maybe they're just not listening to the data you're presenting for pricing, as long as the seller agrees to the verbiage up front, can't you just add something to the contract stating that if you decide to cancel before the expiration of, said contract, you're liable for, the marketing fees, whatever those may be? If they agree to that, isn't that fine?
Sure, you can contract around risk, and that's what we've seen now with buyer's brokers contracts, where you're contracting around the risk of showing them the market, educating them, and then they abandon you.
Right.
But the way our jurisprudence system works, and it's better than anywhere else, but it's still a horror, is anyone can sue anyone over anything. And they're just gonna say, yes, I saw it, you showed it to me, I signed it, but I didn't understand what you were talking about. You were distracting me, I didn't accept it. And I'm just an unreasonable person. That's part of our problem, is you guys are brilliant at making the deal. That's what's drawn you to this profession, and in large part, there's some people who are just love the paperwork. But mostly, you guys are people who, by the strength of your intelligence, will, personality, can make it happen. And you tend to bump over the problems and say, I can still make something happen here. The best advice I've been able to give myself, I work for myself, is to be a better boss to myself. And when you get that feeling that they are not buying it, this is an unreasonable person, I'm giving good information, they still don't have the right expectations, rather than thinking, I'm gonna contract around their unreasonableness, say, let them go. Educate them, love them, send them out the door saying, I'm still here, I'm always here.
Totally with you on that. I
You
was just
give it a
curious from
try,
some-
and you come back to me when it doesn't work out.
I guess I was more so curious from not necessarily that aspect, but I'll give you an example. I had a client recently who wasn't totally upfront about the reason to sell. I guess it was personal, but long story short, after the marketing expense and a few weeks in, they decided to cancel because they ended up getting a HELOAN to cover their debts, they weren't fully honest to me about why they were selling.
Mhm.
It was family and friends, so it wasn't a big deal, but I was just,
Yeah, well,
they
family and
got me
friends are
thinking.
your worst clients, they're the most dangerous.
True, but it just got me thinking to, like,
Depends on the
if that
market.
was something we could do to, avoid spending marketing dollars if they're gonna cancel before the contract expires, but appreciate the answer.
And being open with them about that also. I mean, and I'm not trying to intrude in your domain, but what's wrong with explaining to them, you know, we can have a sign. I still like signs. I still believe in farming areas and people liking to see signs, but signs have gone out of style. But a sign costs money. I think offering them again, I have 3 photographers we can have photograph your house. And this is the cost that's involved in that. I'm paying that, I'm happy to pay it as your agent. But these are the investments we're making in selling your house. You wanna talk about staging your house, letting them share more in what you're investing. Cause you are, you know, the leader of the transaction, and you're saying, I really want to put the floor plan out, I'm finding that selling the house more, but it's gonna cost me some money. That they feel that there's a partnership and they realize you're invested in it.
I have a question. To his point though, about the marketing expenses, I mean, those are out of pocket, and if they do cancel before the end of the term, I mean, can't you write into additional terms in your listing agreement, if you cancel before the end of the year, you will owe me, or you're liable for up to, you know, $1,500 in marketing expenses?
I'm a total believer in what you're saying, do it.
Okay.
It's just, don't call me and talk to me about it.
Alright, but that would be fine to put that in there, and they
Well,
have them initial
this
next
is
to
between
it.
you and your broker.
Okay.
This is a brokerage-wide decision.
We'll call Mark.
No, I don't like it. I don't like
Janet, I
it.
would put actual expenses.
Yeah, receipts. I would,
I
yeah,
just-
you could put actual expenses.
My general
receipts.
message is, you aren't out there writing and inventing contracts and the law.
Right.
That's not why you're here. You know, have your own brokerage someday and write whatever contract you want. But there should be a philosophy at the brokerage about what you're doing. And I would think, if you want to say, I'm out $5,000, I'm making up a number here.
But you give the receipts.
And I wanna explain to my client, here's my actual out-of-pocket expenses, and I've shown you we made the decision to do the drone, but you knew that cost money. Then I think you'll talk them out of being mad at you, and a decent person who says, I wanna cancel because, oh God, do not be this agent. I have nowhere to go. You've sold my house, you're gonna sell my house, and I'm suddenly realizing I have nowhere to go. I can't afford anything else. That happens to me all the time. They're calling and saying to me honestly, I have nowhere to go.
Oh, wow.
So, well, why didn't you tell your agent you had nowhere to go? What was your plan? What was your thought? I don't know, I was gonna move to Kansas and they don't love me there anymore. It's just bad planning.
But keep in mind, what Janet was saying and Elizabeth, we do have a handful of agents that on a listing, with additional terms, will put verbiage like that, okay? But make sure you have receipts,
Oh, yeah.
and make sure, you know, a lot of us go on a listing appointment, and, hey, Carol, just so you know, I'm gonna do an open house, every weekend for you. 4 months into it, you've done 2 open houses, but she thought I was gonna be there every weekend, cause it's vacant. I have all these agents, sure. Then when they call me and wanna get out of it, that's one of the things they're gonna say, they
And they
overpromise
deserve
and
to be
underdeliver.
mad.
Yeah,
Yeah, they deserve to be
and
mad.
then what if they don't wanna pay you?
But here's the
What do you do
reality of
then?
it. Anything
Call
under.
Elizabeth.
No,
I'm kidding.
Don't call me, I don't.
Anything under $20,000, no attorney wants to talk to you.
Oh,
The
Wow.
limit in,
oh.
small claims court is 15,000, and district court comes in at 15,000. So small claims in justice court is 15 and under.
Okay.
But, 17 is 15, 18 is 15. Attorneys can't deal with things that are under $50,000, because we charge too much. I was yelling at a guy again in your parking lot this morning who has a righteous case for $18,000, and I'm saying, well, you can go get a cheap attorney, but they don't know what they're doing. And you've got a complicated thing, or you could solve it yourself. You're the one who bought your condo for cash and has no insurance and now flooded the elevator control lobby. My moral to him was, it's $18,000, pay it. Pay it, you can't hire me, you're never getting your money back. The American rule in our system of jurisprudence is everyone pays their own attorney's bill. And there are exceptions with statutes. theoretically with contracts, but the judges are program taught to say everyone pays their own attorney fee. So you're spending good money after bad. So people call me about earnest money disputes, and I will talk to them briefly about it. The moral of the story is split it. Mediate it, arbitrate it. You cannot hire an attorney to fight over $5,000. So pay as little as you can, talk to your client about it up front, and saying, I got it talked down to $2,500, and know that if something goes sideways on us here, you might lose that money. And you can go to small claims, you can mediate, you can arbitrate, but I can't refer you to an attorney because they're not gonna take the case. And you let it sit over at rock long enough, they'll send the money into the court, and their attorney's gonna take a third of it. So it's a losing proposition. And I'm not saying you somehow work this into the discussion with clients, but if you're going to try and have a contract that says, I get $5,000 if you screw me, because that's what we're really talking about. Somebody drops dead, I don't know, stand up in line in probate court. But you're talking about someone who just says, I was irresponsible, or I lied to you. You deserve your money back. And if you call me, I'm gonna say, okay, here's how you handle small claims court. And it's an interesting experience, but you don't get to bring an attorney, you don't get an attorney's fee award, and maybe everyone in this room should go to small claims court so they could really see what it's like. Because for this kind of thing, that's the venue you're in. There's no, you know, if I can't even get a district court judge to write an exclusion order on a case I won and got to kick out the stepdaughter from the stepmother, and I gotta start all over with a new eviction because judges can't write orders. You cannot hire a lawyer and you can't have a lawsuit that solves every problem. And that's another, you know, we're talking about friends and family. My bread and butter is people buying houses together on a handshake, and then it doesn't work out. I've got, right now, identical brothers, twin brothers, half-sister, grandparent suing granddaughter, parent suing former daughter-in-law after their son died. I mean, at any given time, multiple cases, ex-lovers. It used to be easy when there was low interest rates, plenty of equity, people could refinance. But now it's really tough to get people out of one of these deals. And it is about $20,000 in fees before I beat the bad guy into submission. Because I don't take the bad guy. When I'm offered the deal, I say, oh no, I don't want you, but I take them. There's one person who, you know, you look at the facts, says should win. Oh, you can afford to refinance, you can solve this problem. So if I try and take the right person, it still takes me a while to beat the other side up. Because that's just the way life is.
I have a question with, back to the SRPDs. I had a client, we purchased together, I purchased with him an investment property years ago.
You and this person bought a piece of property
I
together.
was his buyer agent.
Okay.
He purchased his property, he never lived in there. 10 years go by with a property management company who manages the company, the property. And now he wants to sell, and he goes back to me, okay? And in the conversation, he tells me, oh, we had a major water leak. You mentioned about the license from plumbers, all the contractors, okay? I don't know who was used to do the repairs.
And the property manager's not gonna tell you, because their property management contract says when the house comes up to be sold, they get to sell it. So they need
we
you.
have this agreement already, because I
Do you?
refer to them, yeah.
Good
So-
for you. She's doing this right.
But and he doesn't speak French, my friend is French, so. Anyway, so I'm saying, because the repair has been done, about the SRPD, when we're gonna review it, because the property management is licensed, am I protected and is my seller protected if they use an unlicensed plumber?
No. No, don't work for them anymore.
I don't know, but I'm
But they're
asking.
not protecting you. They cannot use an unlicensed plumber to
Okay.
repair water leak.
Okay,
You can use an unlicensed person to lay the new flooring, maybe, that's not high risk.
okay.
But
plumbing
once
and,
it's leaked, it's gonna leak
electricity.
again. Cause that's the way it works. And one thing we're all in agreement, we don't buy ground floor condos, right? No.
Okay, second question.
Because water flows down, and once it flows down once, it's always gonna keep flowing down.
So we do I have a buyer, I'm under contract, so.
For the
if I-
same
for the
water-ridden,
problem,
mold-ridden
any
place?
problem.
Oh, okay.
And there is an inspection, I'm on the seller side, I have a listing, and then the inspection report, highlights, drain, clog or anything. I didn't know, of course. Should I update my signs? Because I didn't know, but then now I know.
What does everybody think? What's the room think?
Supposed to be
Do you
updated.
update your seller's real property disclosure when
Yes, yes.
the inspection reveals we've got that slow drain?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And we put in writing to anybody, whether it's our seller, our buyer, the inspector revealed this condition to us. The inspector, who's a good inspector, said, this should be looked at by somebody who's actually gonna give a damn, because that's not what the inspector's there to do. And here's 3 plumbers in that case, here's 3 electricians, here's 3 roofers. Anybody that can address the situation, they're all licensed. Pick one, and let's see what they say.
So the seller would have to pay for it because it's been mentioned in the inspection, ordered by the buyer?
Nobody has to
Whatever
do
you
anything.
negotiate.
Oh,
The seller can just say, this is my excuse to not sell my house. Now, I'm not gonna deal with this, cause I never wanted to sell my house, or I changed my mind some way through. You as the shop agent have to figure out, oh, now, what's this gonna do to our deal?
Elizabeth, you just said something pretty important for, I think, everybody in this room in regards to the SRPD, and you said that the seller would go back and revise that SRPD.
I would.
Now, we do not do that standard of practice here in Nevada. The disclosure is basically the inspection report. By law, the seller has to give written disclosure to the buyer on any defect that's known or found out.
Exactly.
Okay, so if I'm working, and I just went through a transaction with a guy from the East Coast, and we went through the SRPD about 5 times. Because whoever he was talking to over there and everybody else was, hey, I want everything that was on the inspection report on the SRPD. But we don't do that here. We don't do that here, so.
Use your best judgment.
Yeah, well, we
That's what I
did
would
what the
say.
client wanted, okay? I just worked with the listing agent, said, hey, listen, this is what the client wants, and this is what we're gonna do. Right, the listing agent was great, Realty One Group agent as well, and they were good going back and forth to the seller until we got every final detail, cross T's and dot I's. But that's not normal. Normally, it's the disclosure is the inspection report, here it is, buyer, you're aware.
Yeah, this is an important
okay?
point.
It's very
We're not
important.
rewriting things after every inspection. But if it's important enough that everyone is standing there looking at the drain, saying, oh my gosh, what do we do now? My goal is always save your deal. I want you guys to save the deal.
I have an example, I'm sorry, because I was showing the property
All
on
right,
the buyer
this
side.
last one, okay?
It's very important, because I almost called you, because it was a gas leak, we could smell the gas, showing the property, so I called the agent, because there was a safety issue, He came, underneath the stove, and he blocked it, he blocked it. Okay, time goes by, and my buyer wants to see again, because she thought, and I got my written offer. So we got back 3 or 4 months later, and it was still smelling. And we write the offer, it's accepted, inspection. And the inspector said, go out of a house, the SRPDs, 4 months later, because we were under contract, no gas leak. He didn't mention, and he knew because he came 4 months
So did your
earlier.
client buy this house?
So I called him, so.
That's a yes or no answer.
Yeah, we did.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but first, we had an inspector, we required for the gas leak to be.
So what
repaired, and
discount did you
reinspection-
get on this house?
Reinspection, sorry?
What discount did you get on this house?
Oh, we got a good deal.
See, okay, that's how I would have handled the deal. I have bought houses where, like, I always pull the permits, especially with any age house, and as we're getting older and older, I'm not buying a house without pulling the permits, cause you find great stuff in there. Like, there was no permits and an amateur repipe was done. You know, we see Kitech plumbing and some of this PEX plumbing has failed. For me, that's a buying opportunity. I got them right where I want them. You know, don't be afraid of bad information.
But the listing agent was liable, because he knew.
No, he's not liable. I mean, maybe yes, maybe no, but stay in your lane. You're trying to take my job.
I want to get to my question with that whole thing, which is, what constitutes written disclosure from the seller, the law, with us in a transaction? We
It
did
has
the
to be on the-
SRPD,
Has to be on
inspection
the
was
form.
done,
Has to be on the form.
on what, so, written,
The seller's duty to disclose material facts that bear upon value or use of the property. What's a material fact? But that duty is non-delegable. And the buyer hiring an inspector to tell them the information does not absolve the seller. Now, the seller can say, news to me, I never go in that back bathroom, I had no idea.
well, correct, they already filled out the SRPD based on what they knew.
What they-
But an inspection's been done now.
And it
Everybody's now
truly
aware.
reveals something that
Does
they
it-
didn't
does- So
know.
how does the seller have to give written disclosure to that buyer? Is the inspection itself written disclosure? Because that's how we operate right now.
Yes, that is how we operate, and thank God that is still the custom and practice.
Okay.
You're asking a high-level,
Yes,
thoughtful
well, I'm
question.
a high-level individual, so it's.
Yes, let me give you my 2 cents. So I'm the buyer, you're the seller, Damon, and it's water intrusion on the inspection report. I send it to you, your seller wants nothing to do with it, we cancel the deal.
Now he has.
Well, now you have to disclose, that's,
Right.
that's a no-brainer,
That's what I'm
within the
saying, yeah.
transaction, we're staying within the transaction.
buyer knows.
If you cancel and go, and you have to redo an SRPD
Okay,
with
that's
what
where I
you
thought you were
know.
going. Okay.
Within that same transaction, though, what constitutes written disclosure to that buyer in that transaction? Is it the inspection report itself, which is how we, again,
People
that's how
call me
standard
all the
practice for
time.
us.
With tremendous regularity, people call with that scenario. I read the seller's real property disclosure, it said nothing about the water intrusion. The inspection was done, because I always ask for several things. I'm not gonna even talk to you about your problems you've experienced with your house unless I see some documents. One, I wanna see seller's real property disclosure. I wanna see the inspection report. You know what I wanna see? The thing you're leaving out in this scenario of a closed-end transaction. I wanna see what you asked for in repairs. And I wanna see what the seller said in response to your request for repairs. Because now I'm building a real factual scenario that makes sense within the law and the facts and just reason. Because now your buyer, who says, I have my inspection report, you didn't tell me about the water intrusion, but I will now document that I'm aware of it by asking you, Mr. Seller, to repair what we now both know here. Now what is the seller gonna say? Yeah, now I know about it too bad, you fix it later.
Thank
Or
you.
I'll give you a discount, and then they say, okay, I took a $2,000 discount, and then they still call me and say, now I've discovered it's the frickin' main line, which is always the main line in my world.
I love that answer. What about every other item that you don't address in the request for repairs? Because that is exactly what the answer I would give as well, is, hey, it's all been negotiated here. What about the other 10 items that the buyer didn't ask for in the
And I
request for
talk to
repairs? It
people
wasn't
about it
addressed?
all the time, in the general vein that there's no guarantee. There's no way any lawyer who says, I guarantee you 90% you're gonna win, is just overlisting the house to talk in your vernacular. They're fluffing it up. I can help you, we're for sure gonna win. They don't hire that lawyer. You've gotta say, what's the overall scenario here? And people who say, I want that $2,000 credit are hurting themselves, in my view. Because they're saying, I took $2,000 for anything and everything, not just for this, and on the same
Unless they
time.
address that one item.
Exactly.
I want 2004
Or
this
I let
item.
the seller repair it with their unlicensed plumber.
Yeah.
And I didn't even go back to double check it, and I don't have the receipt, and I didn't talk to the plumber myself. And, yeah, these are fraught, and buyers meditate on how mad they are about this. If they meditate for more than 2 years, you're okay. If they only meditate for a year, and they wanna sue you, and they wanna sue the other agent, and they wanna sue the seller, and a lot of times it doesn't work out for them. Because I can give them some big beautiful judgment, now where are we gonna collect it? They spent your money.
If the buyer accepts a credit though, in lieu of repairs, so when I'm the listing agent and we are offering a credit, we write into the RFR, we write seller willing to credit buyer towards his closing costs in lieu of any and all requested repairs.
And accepts the property as is.
Okay.
Which doesn't usually mean anything, but in the context of this discussion where we're saying, I'm taking $2,000 for everything.
Right.
I will never darken your door again. They will still call me and they will still beg me to sue you.
But do they have a leg to stand on, is my question.
Sure.
Yes.
Anyone can sue
Because everybody
anyone
can see
over
them.
anything. And I will turn them down, and 10 other lawyers are gonna say yes, because it's a bad market out there, and people like to dabble in real estate, not just in your world, but in my world also. And they just think, oh, well, okay, I can do it. I mean, the main line really did have to be repaired. It turned out not to just be the little minor thing we thought it was gonna be. And lawyers are hungry. And they think, oh, it's gonna be easy. The damages will carry the day. I mean, it was really bad when they figured out how bad it was. They're not gonna get me to represent them. And they're gonna go down in front of the judge, who's a former district attorney, who's a smart person, but they might not even own a house. They may own their house, but they're not sophisticated in our field. And there's not a lot of law in our field. It's bad in court.
So what are you recommending to avoid that situation then? What should a seller do?
Everything we've talked about.
I mean, they're gonna disclose, all of my sellers disclose everything they know, anything that happened even 10 years ago.
And figure out who you're dealing with. What you guys are brilliant at is reading the room. It's saying, okay, I got a real problem buyer here. I've gotta figure out, and I means selling agent, buying agent, seller. Everybody's looking at this buyer saying, we got a problem here. How are we gonna make them feel they're stuck? The goal is to write everything as aggressively and clearly as possible, so they hesitate in calling. They have to say, no, they really gave me a chance to ask for what I wanted, to negotiate for it, and this is what I accepted, and write that language. Any and all risks of loss, any other conditions, accepting the property as is.
Tim, you have a lot of work to do, my man.
Thanks for coming to the meeting, Janet.
People are not reasonable right now.
But I get to answer Janet's question, everything you did, that's it, that's all we can do.
Yes.
A year later, if they're gonna sue
You're
us,
in a dangerous field.
hopefully, when they sue us, and we send everything to the division, like Elizabeth said, they'll just kick it back. It's frivolous, let's move on.
Right.
That's why, if you're not keeping really good notes and writing stuff down, you know, we got 2 complaints this month, I called up the agent and said, by the way, Renee, you know, you have to respond to the division's complaint.
it's not me.
It's not Renee. But also, I need your file, and I need your timeline of the transaction. And on the phone, it was crickets.
And that's another
Because
thing that's really
you're
gonna
not
help.
documenting it, you're not getting
You're
track
gonna
of
have,
anything.
on this date, this time, I called them. On
share my
this date,
text
this
with you.
time, we all went out and we looked
Good job.
at the property. You're gonna have all of this factual information that leads a judge or jury to say, no, this person knew exactly what they were getting into. They were given high level of advice, expertise, alternatives, and they're just, you know, sorry, they have buyer's remorse. And that's happening more and more. It used to be a mistake happened. You know, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, people could call me, tell me a horrible scenario that everyone would say, yeah, that was a bad deal. But I could back it up a little and say to them, look, how much is the house more worth now than it was when you bought it?
Yes.
And you were desperate to get that house. You were in a bidding war to get that house. Was there any other better house? I can essentially say to them, you would have still bought the house if you had honestly known what you were dealing with. It wouldn't have been quite as sweet a deal, but you would have still been buying that house.
Communication.
These days, house is worth less than when they bought it. It's gonna keep being worth less than they think it's worth. They're upset about the interest rate. They can't afford the house, and they only find it out later. It's a tough market right now, and people think the way to solve it is on you.
Since we have a term in the room, do you,
Tim, this
do
would
you
be a
see,
great for CE. I think that's-
do you see NRS 113-150? Do you, a buyer can sue for treble the damages? Do you see that happening?
Oh, they think they're going to,
Uh-huh.
but the way that usually plays out, when I sit down and actually charge someone to say, okay, let's look at your contract and the amendments and the inspection and the repairs and the response and all of this. Say, so where did our seller go? And they've gone out of state. And what was their story? They're going into assisted living. I mean, usually say, okay, you deserve to win. I'm gonna get you a big fat judgment. Where do we collect? I don't wanna be that attorney. Say, my ego is gratified, I looked great, I got you a big judgment, but if you can't collect it, it's worth nothing. Now, if you're a high-level investor and you have a judgment and it's uncollectible, you do get to write it off, but that's an expensive write-off, cause it's gonna cost you tens of thousands of dollars, even to get a default.
Yes.
And you can't collect it, it's worth nothing. So usually, my favorite thing to say to people
Figure it
is
out.
pay them, not me.
Exactly.
Solve the problem. You
Yeah.
solve that problem by, making the repair yourself.
Yeah,
Do not throw good money after bad, I got enough other things to do.
yeah.
I love what I do and I love to represent people, but I'm not gonna be that person who overpromises and underdelivers. I have to see the big money, a big target. It had to have happened 2 months ago, they still live in town. They paid cash for a house, so they can't protect any more than a certain amount of equity in the house. They can't bankrupt out from under us. Now I'm saying, oh, that's fun. Let's sue them.
I have a super quick question.
I think you're over limit too.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's, SRPD related, so on the second page, it says, does the seller have any knowledge of construction defects?
Mhm.
If so, provide whatever documentation you can. So many people have no idea, they bought the home 5 years ago, maybe the construction defect was 20 years ago. They have no idea, they legitimately don't know, and they don't check yes, of course. Is there any way as a listing agent is there a database out there that you can point us to that might have a list of construction defects?
It's not perfect, and I also want you to stay in your lane. It's one thing to say, get on the City of Henderson website where you can pull permits online, or go to LA, or Las Vegas, or Clark County, and you can pull a ticket, like in a bakery, and they will tell you what they're gonna tell you or print things out for you. As far as construction defect goes, that is the reason the seller's SRPD has a box that says unknown. You are allowed to say unknown,
Okay.
and say, there's not been, to my understanding as a seller, I have not heard about the HOA bringing any new or continuing to litigate any prior construction defect matters. If that's their honest answer,
Yeah.
and if you're thinking, no, I remember back in the day, this complex may have had it, you can add at the bottom and say, seller doesn't have any direct knowledge, but there's some, recollection, ask the HOA.
Elizabeth, would you ask your seller to go look at the SRPD that they received when they purchased the home?
That, when I am involved directly in transactions, whether it's my own portfolio or if I get to play with somebody's deal, I say, I put in the inspection I got when I bought the house, I put in my seller's real property disclosure, I put in, a printing of the listing to show the pretty changes in the photos since when I bought it and I sold it.
Yeah.
I give you this,
Yep.
cause in here in the middle, there's something I don't like.
Yeah.
But mostly, it's cause I want you to say, oh, she had air conditioning service every 6 months, she's doing everything. Why not? Give them everything. They get all distracted looking at the pretty stuff and forget about that drain that's still.
All right, okay, we got about 5 more, we got about 5 more minutes before Liz starts charging us by the hour. Okay, for being here. Just saying, Gabe, what do you got?
So, just a general question here. When you get lawsuits, are we looking at homes, the lower end homes, luxury homes, or you get a gist of everything?
It's a mix-up of
Mix
everything.
up of everything?
It's the
not
people
targeting like
involved.
a high-end home or luxury home?
I
where
wish.
They go just.
We all make more money when it's a
So you
luxury
get
home.
like mixed,
It's a mix, it's always the people, it's not even the house, 'cause
oh, it's always.
if I can leave you with a thought, it really is. There's a horrible water intrusion problem in the house, call me up, I'm buying it. It's a bargain if you are a brave person and you understand construction. Everything can be fixed. I love that house. It's the people who are involved that create the
It's
problem.
their mentality.
Yeah, they're so afraid the mold in the house is gonna kill them. I'm over there saying, no, I'll clean it up myself. It's all fine. So be aware of who are you dealing with. Are you dealing with somebody that you need to be tough, gentle, but communicate? Are they being unreasonable? Get away from them. They're gonna drag you down.
So what do you guys think? Pretty good stuff?
Yeah.
All right? We're gonna, Liz said she'll come back every 2 weeks. for our meeting, okay, on a regular basis. So if you miss this one, you'll see her in 2 weeks, right now.
So you understand, have all your clients call about earnest money disputes, small claims, problems, how they wanna sue you, please, no.
No.
But anything that has real value, that you're concerned about, anytime you need to talk, I'm always there, I pick up the phone.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Hey, I just texted Suzanne to use her numeric thingy to pick a winner. The winner is number 15 of the very valuable giveaways here.
15 is Rigo Garcia.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff in here, but I don't know. Okay, but it's really good stuff.
Okay, is there a number 3 in here?
Could be a broken
Number
company.
3 is Carolyn. I have these, a few of these calendars left
Yeah.
over, so I have them handing out. How about number 9? You already have one. I have number 2. Okay. Can I have?
Zero broker fees for a year?
Well, okay.
And I can,
I have